we may have lost our understanding of how to access all of these things. And part of it has to do with the cycles of ages. According to Vedic cosmology, time goes in vast cycles. And at certain points of these cycles, humans have greater mental and intellectual capabilities. According to the Vedic cosmological calendar, we're now in a part of the cycles, it's called the Kali Yuga, where human mental and intellectual abilities are declining from their previous state, where people were able to master these more subtle energies in the universe, and now we're kind of stuck with manipulating the grosser energies and trying to duplicate powers that people once had naturally in terms of machines made of metal. For example, according to the ancient text, people naturally were able to communicate at great distances from each other telepathically, or they were able to get information about distant places through what we would now call remote viewing. And these were abilities people naturally possessed. Now we try to reduplicate these things in terms of our computers and World Wide Web and handheld devices and television and things like that. So part of the problem is the succession of ages, which results in human beings having lesser abilities than they did in the distant past.
All right, very good. Thank you, Michael. Grace, Knoxville, Tennessee. Hey, Grace, go ahead.
Hi, nice to talk with you.
Hi, you too.
I am wondering if you have ever heard of someone who hears words in their mind and then is able to speak words and sentences that, when looked up on like a interpreter, turns out to be ancient Sanskrit.
Things like that do happen. Technically, it's called xenoglossy. Means the ability of a person to speak a language that they've never heard before. The psychiatrist Ian Stevenson studied this phenomenon. He was particularly looking into a case of a woman in Philadelphia who started speaking an ancient dialect of the Swedish language. And she had never studied Swedish. But scholars who understood this ancient Swedish dialect were able to understand, what she was saying. So I think that could also happen in terms of manifesting an ability to speak Sanskrit. There are cases like this from India where people in India manifest an ability to speak some other Indian dialect, not the one that is spoken in the area where they're born. Sometimes in Christian circles, there's the phenomenon of speaking in tongues and things of that sort. So, yes, I do think things like that can happen. They do happen.
Okay, next up we go to Honolulu. It's Jason's turn. Hey, Jason, go ahead.
Hi, Michael. Thank you so much for your contribution to humanity. My main question is if you think that Krishna might have been an alien if he was blue.
Well, for those who aren't familiar, Krishna is a Hindu god. It's a name for God in the ancient Sanskrit language. I would say we're all aliens in this sense. That is, beings, conscious beings, we have an origin from a level of pure consciousness in the cosmos. That is where we originally exist as conscious beings. So we are all aliens in that sense. In Hindu thought, in Hindu religion, cosmology, theology, there's the concept of avatars. Of course, there was that film, Avatar.
That's right. They're all blue.
Where a soldier's consciousness is projected into another planet, into a body on another planet. So this word avatar comes from the Sanskrit language. It's used, it means one who descends or comes down from one level of the cosmos to another. So in that sense, yes, Krishna would be an avatar, an alien, in the sense that, well, and we're all aliens in that sense, that our original existence is not from this level of the cosmos, it's not from this earth. We have an origin at some other higher level of the cosmos from which we've descended. And
okay,
yes.
Go ahead, no, I'll let you finish up. Go ahead.
So periodically, according to this way of thinking, there are higher beings who descend from that higher level to remind us of our original position. They're called avatars, and Krishna is one of them.
Just remarkable. I mean, just the study of what might have happened a long time ago. Absolutely riveting. Let's go to Michael in Anderson, Indiana. Hi, Michael, first-time caller. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Michael, sir, how are you?
Good to have another Michael on.
Yeah, my mother named me Michael for a reason, and you probably know what that is. Anyway, I'm kind of nervous about this. I listen to you, George, a lot, and I've always hesitated about calling in, but listening to your guest tonight, I decided to take a chance, and they answered right away.
Perfect.
So it's great. And I'll be really brief about this. I don't have any questions. I just feel compelled to reiterate everything Michael's saying, but I want to take it to another level. These wars, ancient wars, that are probably at least millions of years old here on Earth, I believe they happened all over the solar system myself. I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but my mother, she only went to the 7th grade. She was, and her and my grandparents were sharecroppers.
Mm-hmm.
But my mother did teach me how to read and write when I was 3 years old. And from 3.5 to 5 years old, I have 203 notebooks that I wrote. I keep in my safe. I call myself an amateur theologian.
At that age, too. That's remarkable.
Ancient history, philosopher, all that. And the reason I say amateur is because I'm an information junkie, but I don't have the credentials to prove it.
Well, let me ask you this, Michael. Why do you believe that, and I agree with you, but why do you believe ancient civilizations are that old?
Well, it's just, I don't know how, it's hard for me to explain how I know this. I've read the Bible probably 100 times over, and lots of ancient history. Like I said, I'm an information junkie. I'm at the library 24/7. I sleep about 3 hours every 24 hours, and I don't watch TV. I listen to your show and classical music, and I'm always in a book. But like, take Mars. I think, and a lot of my knowledge is not just from my own. I do have an associate's degree in liberal arts, but that's nothing. You know, in high school and college, I was just bored silly. But like, take Mars. I kind of got the feeling we probably started out on Mars because, and a lot of my studies or my knowledge comes from just plain revelation from the one Creator. Now, I'm not. Now, there's one. I believe there's one Creator, but I believe there's other higher beings and forces in the universe also.
Sure.
But Mars was bigger, and there was probably about, I'm going to guess at one time, 30 billion humans on Mars before these wars broke out.
Well,
and Mars was totally
right.
Mars was totally devastated, and the people that survived, or whoever helped us survive, made the Earth, I don't know how to really say this, made the Earth in a form that we could survive on.
Well, that's very possible. Let me get your take on this, if I can. Michael, he's pretty close, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's got some really good insights there. First of all, his idea that the wars that took place in ancient times were interplanetary. That's something that is described in a lot of different ancient wisdom traditions. It's certainly there in the ancient Sanskrit writings of India. There are descriptions of vimanas, or spacecraft, that were used in battles between the different forces in the universe. So that's a fact. I also believe, along with the caller, Michael, that human-like life forms are present not only all over our solar system, but throughout the entire galaxy, throughout the entire universe. According to the ancient Sanskrit writings of India, there are 400,000 human-like species scattered throughout the entire cosmos. And if we really start looking at the whole range of reports of not just the ancient astronaut reports, the ancient aliens reports, but the modern reports of UFOs and aliens and things of that sort, I think we can see pretty clearly that we're part of a whole cosmic hierarchy of beings. So I think the caller, Michael, there is onto some things, yes.
I think so, too. Michael, your latest, are you working on another one?
Well, what I'm working on now, well, of course, my latest book is The Forbidden Archaeologist, but what I'm doing now is I'm putting together a book of all the papers I've presented at mainstream scientific conferences over the past few years. I'm going to take about 25 of those papers that I've presented at meetings of the World Archaeological Congress, European Association of Archaeologists.
And compile them.
And I'm going to compile them into a book because I want people to know that these things are being discussed, not just on Coast to Coast, which is a really great place to discuss them, but also at these mainstream scientific conferences.
You get that ready, Michael. You come back for a full program. Michael Cremo up next. We talk about the Longevity Project. Stand by on Coast to Coast AM.